Welcome back to the Lose Weight by Eating podcast. I'm Audrey Johns, and I'm so excited to talk to you about plateaus this week. I'm actually working on a masterclass with a few other gals, and in one of the masterclass videos, I started talking about plateaus, and I thought, I have a lot more to say about this. So I thought that this could be a really fun, positive, motivational talk with you this week. So I hope you love it. When I went to get started, and if you're watching the video, I'm looking over to the side because I have quite a lot of notes on this. But when I first started, I wanted to look up what does a plateau mean, just to make sure I was on the right track and speaking the same language to everyone. And the definition was the inability to lose more weight after initially successful quick weight loss is known as a weight loss plateau or stall. So that's what we're going to be talking about this week. And I named this, is it a plateau or are you done? So with that said, if you're like, oh, hell no, I'm not done, Audrey, don't worry. We're going to talk about, are you done? Or here's how to get over a plateau. So we are going to be talking a little bit more about the 8-week average. We're going to talk about our diet, our exercise, and if we're still not done, I'm going to give you some tips on how to push through a plateau, because at some point, we all have them, right? So the first thing I want to bring up is a quick story. When I first lost all my weight, and if you're not familiar with my weight loss story, I lost 150 pounds in 11 months, and I've kept it off for almost 14 years now. When I first lost that 150 pounds, I really wanted to lose 155 pounds. And I beat myself up for it for a full year after my initial weight loss, because I just wanted to lose those last 5 pounds. I just wanted to lose those last 5 pounds. I starved myself. I worked out so hard that I hurt myself. I tore myself apart. And in the long run, I ended up having some ups and downs and ended up gaining some weight, having to re-lose it just because I was so focused on those last 5 pounds. So when I talk about, are you done? That's what I'm talking about. If I had only had the wisdom in that moment to think, wow, I lost 150 pounds. That's amazing. I should just be proud of myself. Instead of focusing on those last 5 pounds, I think it would have been a much better year and, much healthier for my mind and for my body. So what I want to first start with is evaluating your diet. So we're going to go through all of this, and then we're going to decide, is it a plateau or are we done? And if we're not done yet, we're going to talk about how to overcome it. So whether you think you're done or you don't think you're done, these are still good, healthy tips to work through. First section I want to talk about is evaluate your diet. So if you feel like you've stopped losing weight and you were there for a while and you were on a good roll and you were losing big numbers every single week, I want you to revisit, what were you eating then? And are you still adhering to everything that worked? Most often we kind of slip off of what we were doing, and that's okay. That's life. But anytime you feel like something's not working again, take a step back and reevaluate. What was I doing that was working, and am I still doing that? And if you can't remember, that's okay. We'll get to that as well. I want you to reevaluate, are you eating all natural foods? And this can happen if, say, you have a job loss or an extra added expense to your household, and maybe you stop buying the organic version of your favorite yogurt or something, and you start buying the cheaper version, which totally get. Single mom here, broke single mom here, I get it. But if you hit a plateau, I recommend that you reevaluate these foods that you're buying. So you can do that by looking at the ingredient list before you look at the nutrition label. I'm going to say that again because this is a really important tip. Look at the ingredient list before you look at the nutrition label. So you're going to read the ingredients and you're going to evaluate, are these all natural? And we all walk around with mini computers in our pocket or in our purses now. Pull out your iPhone, pull out your Android, look it up online, and figure out, is it all natural? There are some red flags. Say you don't want to be that person looking up stuff in the grocery store, or you just don't have time to. The red flags are, is there something on there I cannot pronounce? There's a red flag. Are there more than 5 ingredients on there? There's a red flag. Now, can you have an all-natural food product that has more than 5 ingredients? Absolutely. These are just red flags. These are like, whoa, stop. Let me revisit that. Let me look it up. Now, what about, are you used to many filler packed foods? I'm going to go back to the yogurt. And if you're doing the master class that I was originally talking about all this on, you're going to have heard some of this before, but I'm going to try to dive in a little bit more. Fillers. So there is a specific yogurt that keeps jumping to mind. Now, I don't want to get like a cease and desist from them, so we will just call them yogurt Y. And specific fillers are added to this product to make it plump up, to make it thicker. Thickening agents do not have some kind of knowledge base like, oh, it's not for her or it's not for him, it's for the yogurt. It's for the ingredient. When you put fillers into your body that are meant to thicken up food, what do you think they're going to do to your body? So I want you to stop and reevaluate that. Okay? If it's all natural, like a cornstarch, outside of the fact that you will be severely constipated if you use too much cornstarch, that's different. I'm talking about chemical agents that will plump up a food, that will make it thicker. Try to avoid those. And this isn't like, I can't even pronounce these. So what I'm talking about is when you look up, when you have your phone out and you look up these ingredients, if it says will plump up food or will thicken food, I want you to stop, put it down, and pick up another one and try to find one without that ingredient in it. And as you all know, I do my very best to answer all questions on Facebook. So if ever in doubt, take a picture of it, post it in a comment on today's most recent posts, and I will do my best to look it up for you and to help you out with that. But the next spot check for reevaluating your diet is, am I drinking enough water? And with that said, I'm going to take a glass of my water and I'm going to have a drink, and wherever you are, I want you to stop and take a quick drink of water, okay? Water naturally boosts your metabolism, fills you up, cleanses your body, and, sorry, I'm just going to say it, helps you poop. Water is so good for you. So are you drinking enough water? I recommend, if you've hit a plateau, do your very best to hit my big daily goal of 1 gallon per day. You're not always going to get there. This is a goal, but you're going to try to get to 1 gallon or as close to it every single day. I do recommend maybe you start at 1/2 gallon goal, and then each day you're adding a few more ounces. But try to drink more water, and make sure you're not putting those little packets of flavorings in there or the little drops of flavorings in there, unless it is an actual fruit that you have to cut up and squeeze in. Don't put it in there. Just don't, because these fake sugars can also hinder weight loss. They will actually tell your body in most instances that it needs to store fat. It's not a natural ingredient, and therefore your body doesn't know what to do with it. So that brings me back to eating all natural. All natural is key. My next tip to reevaluating your diet for a plateau is rethink your calories throughout the day. So if you realize, I'm still eating the same foods as I was eating on week 1, I am eating all natural, I'm not using any filler foods, and Audrey, I'm definitely drinking enough water. Here's a great tip. Rethink your calories throughout the day. So if you only have a few pounds left to lose, maybe a quick switch in how you distribute the calories throughout the day is all you need. So maybe that's swapping what you would typically have for lunch and what you would typically have for dinner and swapping them. So often we have maybe a 300 calorie breakfast, a 300 calorie lunch, and then a 600 calorie dinner. Well, if you could take those 600 calories and move them to the middle of the day when you have all that extra time to burn off those calories to actually use them as fuel as they were intended to be used, that is sometimes all you have to do to lose weight. So rethink how you are distributing your calories throughout the day. Ideally, you want to have the bulk of your calories at breakfast and at lunch and a light dinner. Another thing that you can rethink is when you eat your carbs. Now, you guys have already heard me talk about it. I'm an Italian woman. I'm not giving up my pasta. I'm not giving up my bread. For me to have a sustainable diet means I need to be able to have these things. But I don't eat carbs at dinner. I am now within that weight range that if I do eat carbs at dinner, I notice a difference the next day. And that could be age, and that could be my body. But I will eat my carbs at breakfast and at lunch. I don't eat them at dinner. So that's another area where you can just do a quick swap. You don't have to change what you're eating. You just move it around. You just, maybe instead of having pasta for dinner, you have a sandwich for lunch. So you can still have the carbs, just move them earlier in the day so that they are better used as fuel and you're not sleeping on them. Another thing you can do, and I know you're not going to like this one, but if you've hit a plateau and you're trying to reevaluate that diet of yours, why don't you try taking a break from alcohol for just 1 week? I have found, specifically for women, but I have found with men as well, if you drink, you have a harder time losing weight and or you gain the older you get. So when we were 20, we were just burning through that stuff. And man, can we just also mention that hangovers when you were 20 are nothing like hangovers when you're 40? So rethink that. If every single thing you've done here, no, I don't eat carbs at dinner, and I have a light dinner and I have a heavy lunch and I'm drinking enough water and I'm not eating filler foods and I'm eating all natural and I'm eating what I ate in the beginning. If all of these other things you're like, check, 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 done. Take a break from alcohol for just 1 week. See if that helps. And for those of you saying, no, I really need to unwind at the end of the day, I actually posted a video of my favorite little unwind drink that I tend to do on those stressful days when I don't want to have a drink, where I take out my prettiest martini glass and I put 5 drops of lemon balm, 5 drops of ashwagandha, and 5 drops of, and now I'm forgetting it. It's on there. It's on my Instagram at Audrey Johns. And then I pour up my favorite coconut 0-calorie LaCroix over it. You could do, any of your favorite all natural unsweetened sodas or just soda water or just water would work as well. But you can take a break and still unwind. And I find that this quote unquote cocktail that I make, and of course I'll remember the third ingredient as soon as I'm done with this podcast. But I find that it's equal to me as a 5'3", short little woman. It's about equal to having a beer. That's about how much it relaxes me. So I have 2 on a really bad day. I can't have more than that because I will fall asleep, like standing up at that point. But these are all natural drinks that you can have. And I find they do not affect my weight maintenance if I'm trying to trim a few pounds. I've also found that just pouring soda water in a fancy wine glass or in your fanciest cocktail glass is enough too. So even if you don't want to go out and buy these different drops, that's fine too. They're basically me recreating those alcohol-free booze drops that you keep seeing all over Instagram and Facebook that I've just kind of cracked the code and made them for myself. But take a break from alcohol for a week. See if that helps. And if you're still unsure, if you're still doing all of that, log your meals for 1 week. Don't change anything. Just keep going with what you're doing. You could start this today, log your meals and just write it all out. You can either use the notes app in your phone or you can just do it manually on a piece of paper, but write down everything you're eating. And then at the end of the week, highlight. And if you have to, pull out an actual highlighter and highlight areas that you're like, whoa, this was not on plan, or here's where I can change these things. But if you think you're already eating healthy and if you think you're already doing all of the things, then you're probably really close or actually doing them. And logging everything you're doing will either, one, reinforce that, okay, I know I've got it spot on my eating. Maybe I reevaluate my workouts, which we're going to talk about next. Or two, whoa, here's a really big opportunity for me to improve. I don't want you to be down on yourself. I don't want you to punish yourself. I don't want you to say, here's a screw up. I want you to say, here's an opportunity. Okay. So now that we've gone over our diet, let's talk about reevaluating our workouts. Now, I want to remind you, this is so key. Weight loss happens in the kitchen. I'm going to say that again. Weight loss happens in the kitchen. It does not happen in the gym. Can exercising burn calories? Yes. Can exercise help you tone up while you're losing weight? Yes. Is exercise good for your body and for your heart and even for your mind? Yes. Exercise is great, but weight loss happens in the kitchen. So with that said, unless you are running a marathon, unless you are training for a marathon, unless you are burning thousands and thousands and thousands of calories, if you get on that elliptical machine and it says you burnt 300 calories, do not take that as a free pass to go and eat 300 calories. Does that make sense? You're losing an opportunity here by doing that. So if you are eating or snacking too much because of a workout, then maybe you change your workout time. So maybe you go after breakfast or you go after lunch or you go after dinner when you're already satiated, where you already have that fuel, where you're not then starving after your workout. This is an opportunity where you can switch things up just a little bit. You're not changing your workout and you're not even changing what you eat. You're just kind of moving them around a little bit. And if that means, no, I always work out in the morning. I always work out at 6 a.m. This is what works into my schedule. Then maybe you reevaluate when you eat your breakfast, right? So either you're moving your food around or you're moving your exercise around to better accommodate. Does that all make sense? I hope it does. And finally, here's a really important one. Are you gaining muscle? Are you really in a plateau or are you just gaining muscle? And with this said, I want to come back to the genes test. If you've been listening to all these podcasts, you already know about the genes test. The genes test is my alternative to getting on the scale. And if you want to hear more about it, just listen to the podcast where I talk about throwing away my bathroom scale. Yeah, it'll definitely stand out to you as you scroll through them. But you can use the jeans test instead. And so what I recommend is you put on your favorite pair of jeans once a week. And I can't be clearer about this. I am not talking about the jeans that you have up in the top of the closet that you're hoping and praying at some point you'll be able to fit into. Don't do that to yourself. You want to put on the jeans that you would wear to an all-you-can-eat buffet. Your biggest, most comfy jeans, your favorite pair, the pair you want to wear. Those are the jeans test jeans you want to put on every single week. So you put them on and you notice, are they looser? Are they tighter? How are they fitting around my butt? Whoa, they're tight, but I know I did a ton of squats last week, so maybe I'm just, building some muscle. So this is a great way for you to evaluate, is weight loss working without having to get on the scale? Because if you're gaining muscle, muscle weighs more than fat. So if you keep getting up on that scale and you're working out really hard and you're eating really healthy, but the scale is either staying the same or going up, then maybe you're just gaining muscle. And the jeans test can help with that. And with that said, put your scale away and just do the jeans test for a month. Okay? So now that we have reevaluated our diet and reevaluated our workout, are we done? Is it a plateau, or are you done? If you have 5 to 10 pounds left to lose, you might be done. I'm going to bring you back to my analogy from earlier when I talked about beating myself up for not losing those last 5 pounds. And spot check here, 14 years later, I still haven't lost them. But I have gained a lot of knowledge, and I am kind to myself about it. I'm cool with it. I'm okay. I'm happy. I feel good in my skin. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my body. At some point, enough is enough. And so often, even if you do lose those last 5 pounds, what are you going to nitpick on your body at that point? At some point, you have to say, I'm really proud of myself. I feel healthier. I look better. And maybe take some of those compliments. So often as women, we're really bad about taking compliments, or we have body dysmorphia in that we look in the mirror and we still see that heavier version of ourselves. So if you are done, I want you to put your scale away for a week. I want you to look in the mirror every single day and tell yourself how proud you are of yourself for what you've done. Try to just be your best self. Like I said, I recorded for our masterclass that's going to be coming out in April, earlier today. And I made an analogy of, my neighbor might be at her best weight at a size 0, but I am most definitely not. We are not all built the same. So expecting your body to be the same as somebody else's body is just not healthy for yourself. It's cruel. What I want you to do is to try to get to your healthiest weight or your healthiest size. And with that, you can talk to your doctor, you can have some lab work done, and you can go over your lab work from before your weight loss journey to after. Or you can maybe say, maybe I don't need to lose that last 5 pounds I've been beating myself up about because my labs are good. And maybe you don't even need a weight loss journey. Maybe you now need a self-love journey. So, cannot say this any stronger. I'm almost at a loss for words because it's so big to me. It's so powerful for me. And it's something I've been struggling with. You do not have to look like everyone else. Just look your best. Feel your best. It needs to be good enough for you. So now that we've decided what to do if you are done, or if you are done, what if you're not? What can you do? How can you get over this plateau? I have some really great tips for you. So the first thing you can do is do a detox week. And before you go, whoa, she's trying to sell me something. I'm not trying to sell you anything. You can go to the Lose Weight by Eating website, and up at the very top, it has detox. And there are 2 detox plans on there. There's a detox week, and then there's a 3-day detox. You choose which one is best for you. Basically, you're just having more metabolism boosting foods that will naturally kind of clear out your body. That is a really great way of doing it. If you do have my detox week cookbook, do a detox week or a detox month. There are several different plans in there, but I don't want you to feel like you have to buy the book. I'd love for you to buy the book, but you can definitely find the single week online for free at loseweightbyeating.com. And then if you just feel like, I just want to power through this and get it done in 3 days, a 3-day detox is typically what I go for at this point. It's a little bit harder, but it really does kind of push your body into fat burning. It's really, really helpful. You can also swap your dinners for green smoothies. And I don't recommend starting off adding protein powders to this. What you're trying to do is you're trying to have a really filling, really fiber-packed meal that's as low in calories as possible. So if you do this, and like, for instance, my partner and I. He is, over 6 foot, and that man can eat. And what I eat for dinner and what he eats for dinner, he'll eat twice as much as me and then be hungry an hour later. So if you find that you're hungry later, then maybe tomorrow you do add a scoop or two of protein powder, but I recommend starting just with a green smoothie. Again, you can find these recipes on loseweightbyeating.com. And my all-time favorite green smoothie, I'll just give it to you now. I like to use all different kinds of greens, but if you're not familiar with green smoothies and you don't typically do them, start with baby spinach. It has virtually no flavor. I like to do a pina colada version. So I do green spinach, and then I'll do some frozen, either mango or pineapple or both. And then I'll use the coconut milk that you find in the refrigerated section, not the coconut milk that you would use for like a Thai dish. That's really caloric. You could also just do some baby spinach and some strawberries and bananas. So do like a strawberry banana grown-up smoothie. So I've got lots of recipes like that online. And if you want to do the kale, it does have a stronger flavor. That's more for us veterans of green smoothies. Romaine is also really great. I would stay away from iceberg lettuce. It's just basically water. You want some of the nutrients that you would find in the greens to help turn off your hunger receptors in your brain. So I do really recommend a more hearty green. And you can also swap your nightly cocktail. I have a really great cherry juice. I believe it's called Overnight Weight Loss Drink on the website. And there's always if you go on the Lose Weight by Eating website, there's always a search bar. So you can just search like overnight weight loss drink. And it's a cherry juice. There's also a smoothie on there. So you could do that smoothie instead of the green smoothie. But it's a cherry juice overnight weight loss drink that basically the cherry juice helps you sleep. The apple cider vinegar in it helps boost weight loss. It tastes like a cocktail. You can't even taste the apple cider vinegar, don't worry, but it's packed full of metabolism boosting ingredients. And if you put it in a fancy glass, you kind of feel like you're having your nightly cocktail, but it actually helps to rev up your metabolism so that you can burn some fat while you sleep. And I have a few different drinks like that on the website. You can also just look up apple cider vinegar on the website and you'll find more drinks like that as well. Another great plateau buster is fruits for dessert. And I know you guys, if you've been on the website, I have so many brownie recipes and so many cookie recipes, and I do love my sweets. But if you're stuck in a plateau, just to push through it, the fruits, instead of a baked dessert, are really going to help push you through. They're going to give you more fiber. Many fruits like apples, blueberries, any berry really, pineapple is really great. These fruits actually naturally boost metabolism. So I would recommend put away your typical desserts, even if they're low calorie, even if they're healthy. You can put away your typical desserts and just have half a cup of blueberries. They're great for snacking while watching television. They'll naturally boost your metabolism, lots of fiber. They're a really good healthy dessert instead of some of the other items you may be having. You can also, to help burn through some stubborn areas where maybe you're holding on to a little bit extra weight, I totally put my hands on my tummy when I said that, you can build muscle in stubborn areas. So when you build muscle, it naturally uses the additional fat in the area to kind of fuel. So say, for instance, you've hit a plateau and you're just wishing that maybe your arms were a little bit toner because spring is coming, or, you want to lift your backside, or you want to have a flatter tummy. A really great way to push through a plateau would be to build muscle. Now, keep in mind, back to the exercising part, this will mean that the scale might not change. I'm going to say that again. The scale might not change in this instance, but maybe you will get closer to the body that you want. So extra crunches, some squats. I have these little 5-pound bar or dumbbells that I use when I watch trash programming at night. It's like the ultimate splurge for me. So try building muscle in the areas that maybe you're trying to lose weight. This could really help to push through a plateau. And then I'm saying this one last because it might be one of the more difficult ones for you, but an intermittent fast might be a good option for you too. And I never recommend the really hard one to start, which is 18 hours of fasting, and I believe it's 6 hours of eating. I recommend a 12-12, where you only eat for 12 hours and then you don't eat for 12 hours. But what you do with the intermittent fast is you're still having the same amount of calories, you're still having the same food, you're just shoving them into a smaller space of the day. And I want to come back to how we're redistributing our food. For a lot of us, it's really easy to do an intermittent fast where you skip breakfast. If you're trying to get through a plateau, this is not what you want to do. If anything, you want to skip dinner. If anything, you want to push your dinner earlier in the day, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. I'm sorry, I know it doesn't sound appealing, but that's the kind of intermittent fast that you would want to do. Okay. So say, for instance, you typically have breakfast at 7 a.m., then you would be done eating at 7 p.m. Does that make sense? And then each week, you could shorten the span of time in which you're eating. You don't stop eating your typical foods. You just have dinner a little bit earlier each night, or breakfast a little bit earlier, so you can eat dinner at a reasonable time. But you're just kind of shortening the span. In the most stringent of these types of intermittent fast, and I'm not talking about the days where you completely fast. Those are really difficult, and I really don't recommend unless your doctor does. But the most stringent of those would be the 18 hours of not eating and then the 6 hours of eating. So I feel like we've kind of gone over the bulk of, is it a plateau or are you done? I feel like we've chatted about how to determine, am I just done? Do I just need to work on accepting my body as it is? Because it's only 5 pounds and I haven't lost it for a year, and I should just be proud of what I have accomplished. Or let's push through that plateau by swapping out some meals for green smoothies, by doing a detox week, for taking a break from alcohol for a week. Okay. So I do have some final takeaways, as I always try to have for you. I want to remind you that your value is not based on how much weight you've lost or even what you look like. Your value is who you are. I've mentioned this before, and I'm trying to mention it in every single podcast to hopefully stop some of the hate mail. But as I always say, I welcome the hate mail. I'd much rather have a conversation. But with this podcast, I really want to merge self-care and self-love and healthy eating and healthy activities, like healthy exercising, and merge them together. Because I feel like if we genuinely want to practice self-love and love our bodies as we should, that also means eating healthy and exercising at a healthy level. That could mean yoga, that could mean once a week hiking, that could mean walking the dog. But if we love ourselves, we should be doing what's best for our bodies. And very often, that's also what's best for our minds. Try to work on health and not a number on the scale. So if you are really basing all of your self-worth on that number on a scale, either put it away for a week or listen to my podcast about getting rid of your bathroom scale. And it's just a 1-month challenge where you put your bathroom scale away. Then you can stop it at any point, but maybe listen to that podcast and see if it's got some helpful tips in there for you. And if you don't want to do it, I get it. That's cool. And then also set some realistic goals for yourself. And I talked about this in an earlier podcast as well. What are realistic goals? But plateaus can be hard, and saying I'm going to bust through that plateau and lose that last 5 pounds this week, that's just not realistic. Is it possible? Maybe. And wouldn't that be great? But maybe your goal is, I'm going to drink half a gallon of water a day. Maybe if you're stuck in a plateau, your goals should not be weight loss based. and they should be health-based or exercise-based or self-care or self-love based. Maybe give yourself a break from the weight loss mindset and just try to do right by your body. And you can still do the detox week and do that, but maybe think about it like I love my body enough to feed it healthy food. And that mindset alone might just kind of give you a little bit of breathing space so that you're not obsessing over weight. I hope this has been really enlightening and helpful. As I've said before, I welcome the hate mail, but I would really rather open up a line of conversation. I would rather have a discussion with how to find a healthier way to be. Because as we get older, weight loss is harder and weight maintenance is harder. And wouldn't it just be better to just focus on health and self-love? So I hope this has been helpful. I would love to hear your thoughts, so make sure to comment. If, depending on where you're watching or listening to this, if you're on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up and let me know what has worked for you in the comments. If you're on Spotify or Apple or any of the other podcast platforms, please give me a 5-star review. It really does help me to be able to continue to do all of this for you. So please be kind to yourselves. Please use positive words on yourself. Please don't say, I'm fat. Say, I'm strong. I'm trying hard. I'm doing my best. Say healthy, happy things for yourself, not negative, because weight loss is hard enough. Putting yourself down is not going to help. And I'll leave you with that thought. Happy cooking. Thank you so much for listening to the Lose Weight by Eating podcast. Bye.